object? The member for Latrobe has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer. Will the Treasurer advise the House of the importance of sound fiscal policy to our transitioning economy? How important is it that any new spending be accompanied by offsetting savings to ensure a balanced budget and to create jobs and growth?
The Treasurer has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I thank the member for Latrobe for his question. And he knows that the global economic times at present are very uncertain and there is a lot of volatility. Those opposite seem to scoff at that, Mr Speaker, but that is a reality, and I know that is a matter of some concern to Australians, whether it's in the member for Latrobe's electorate or elsewhere. And in these types of times, Mr Speaker, it's very important that as a government we continue to do everything we possibly can to strengthen, not weaken, our financial position. We must strengthen our financial position. Now, we need to do everything we can also in this transitioning economy, which is successfully transitioning, to back Australians who are out there every day making that transition successful. Now, the ANZ job ads figures show that we've had an 11.2% increase over the past year, Mr Speaker. That's good news. December quarter retail sales figures, Mr Speaker, were up, and that's also good news. The Reserve Bank Governor has constantly made the point that we are seeing this economy successfully transition. But our role in all of that, Mr Speaker, is to back Australians in by ensuring that we have the strongest financial position that we can possibly have. And the way you do that, Mr Speaker, is if you are going to pursue new measures, you fund them from savings. If you need to spend more on very important things, you fund them from savings, not through higher taxes, which is the approach of those on the other side, Mr Speaker. Now, we are seeking to put through some very important new expenditures to support families being able to afford childcare in this country. And that's not an inexpensive proposition, Mr Speaker, but what we've done on this side of the House is we've identified more than $3 billion in savings to pay for that important new expenditure. Now, those opposite want to take the spending, but they don't want to support the saving, Mr Speaker. And what that is a recipe for fiscal disaster, Mr Speaker. So we on this side of the House understand the need to keep these in balance. Now, those opposite, Mr Speaker, have got a big problem. What they want to do and what they've said is they want to reverse $30 billion in savings that we've already been able to move through this parliament. They don't support some $13 billion more in savings, which is part of government policy, most of which is being blocked by those opposite. And they've committed to an extra $14 billion just since the last budget, Mr Speaker. Some $57 billion in commitments they're racking up. Now, what have they got to pay for it? What have they got to pay for it? They've decided that they've identified $1.2 billion in savings over the next 4 years, just $1.2 billion to pay for $57 billion worth of expenditure commitments. And they've got $7.6 billion in higher taxes, Mr Speaker. Now, the contrast is clear. Those opposite, their plan is to tax and spend and borrow, Mr Speaker. Our plan is to ensure that we back Australians in who are working, saving and investing.
The member for McMahon.